Can we start? Everyone's attention. So tonight we're gonna do demonstrations. Tonight's demonstration will be sugar roll. We're looking for Mike, alcohol wash, oxalic acid drip,
and storage of frames for winter.
and Luke's gonna show us how to stack the frames for storage for winter.
Okay.
Cool. All right, we're gonna start with the powdered sugar wash. Milk them a little bit. Move it up. Okay.
Move up if you want.
You've been pretty calm lately.
That's good.
So here's what I need. I'll use that for the shaker shine too.
Okay.
Guys, use a tray to shake the bees in. Let me get in there and see. Find a couple brood frames. Alright, how we doing? That's pretty empty up there. We'll probably gonna start feeding pretty soon up here. Mine's got a little weight to it, but not nearly enough. This is heavy. Got a little sunbird, but I think I could get a little more. Oh, this next one's good.
I'm searching for the clean right now.
Now you shake them into the box. Tray. Put one more just for, Now, I don't care if the foragers fly away because they generally don't have many mites on them. So, take a half cup of bees.
Take a half a cup of bees. Put it in powdered sugar. 10x.
Take a couple hive tools worth of powdered sugar. One more. And you just shake the hell out of them. Alright, now I'm going to set them down. Start a timer. Let them sit for 2 minutes. Put this back together. We wait.
How much total sugar? 2 tablespoons?
Yeah, about 2 tablespoons, maybe 3. Just, a couple heaping hive tools in there. And then actually, when the timer goes off, we're going to add another hive tools worth of powdered sugar and shake them up again for a little bit, and then dump it all in to the tray. And then we use water to dissolve the sugar. So.
Ryan, if you got a minute, can I tell you a story?
Yes, sir.
About the sugar?
Yeah.
Okay. What it is, when the grower first came here, and we was doing a lot of inspecting to try and locate them, very few percentage of the beekeepers actually belong to associations so they get information about what's going on. So when we started doing the sugar roll test, I trained all my inspectors how to do that test Because we didn't do it every hive. Every couple yards we'd do that just to find out where the mite is and where it had spread to. Well, I'd go there and I'd do the same thing you just did. Dump the bees back in the hive. I would say if I did 10 hives or 10 yards that day with the sugar roll test, I get at least 4 or 5 telephone calls that night. People would come home, look in their hive, and say, "Jerry, something's wrong. I got a bunch of bees that are all white." So they found out what was really going on.
Yeah.
And there was a testing there. Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's
I
good.
enjoyed that, making all the bees white and getting all those telephone calls.
Sugared bees.
At least people knew. I add a little bit more sugar in there. Shake them in. You shake the sugar into the other container.
Shaking the sugar into the container.
I can already see a few mites in here.
Okay.
Pretty good. And then we just put the rest of them back in the hive.
And then he puts the rest back in the hive. This is where the sugared white bees are.
Yeah. Hey, friends. They'll clean you off. Right. Use some water to dissolve the sugar. We said we got what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Looks like we got 8 mites in here.
Wow.
So there's 300 bees in a half cup. So we divide that number by 3. So we'll say we got 3 mites per 100 bee. So this time of year, I'd probably treat to do something about that.
Okay.
Because you want healthy bees going into winter. So
Brian, was that one you tested recently? Does that count?
yeah.
What was it most recently?
What was it? I think it was about the same. So
So that's a candidate for the oxalic acid drip?
yeah, it could be. But I think that one could be.
I think number 1. Yeah.
We've
I mean, we
got
could-
4 doses.
Okay. Yeah, whichever. I mean, I would probably not spray the powdered sugar bees, but we can do the next one over.
Isn't number 1 the one that was really...
Yeah, number 1's the one that had the high mite count.
Yeah.
There we go. Nothing to it.
Anybody want to see?
Yeah, that's,
So you know
that's the mite tray.
the little specks in there.
When I take my inner cover off,
You pass it around. Let everybody
We
see.
have nice bees up here. That is true.
That is true.
I raised all these bees myself, and I can 100% say they are the nicest bees you'll find. Now that long
Yeah.
hive down there, I wouldn't get within 10 feet of that place, but the rest of them. There's 2 underneath the capping in the
Here, could you? Here, I just want to show our viewers at home if they can see it.
Okay, in case you didn't hear that.
Well, they're not going to be able to see it. Never mind. It looks like pepper in the water. Okay, now we're doing an alcohol wash. Chris is going to show us how to do that. Just go down a little bit. Yeah. Am I in your way?
No, that's perfect.
Okay.
Good deal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know.
And by the way, that box right there is kind of light. Oh, I almost took off with it just now.
Oh,
I was expecting it to be heavier.
So they might need feeding, is that it, Chris?
Yeah. So they need to be, man, they really need to be fed.
1 to 1. Do you have a bucket over there?
Yeah.
Okay.
I am gonna
Basically, we're gonna end up doing the same thing basically for the filler roll. We'll shake the bees in,
Shake the bees into the bucket.
off the frame, into the bucket.
And you really want to make sure you don't have the queen when you're doing this.
Yeah, this is a destructive test.
So how much alcohol do you put in?
Put them on the bottom. So when I get them in there,
Okay. Again, a half a cup of bees.
Chris is measuring out a half a cup of bees for the alcohol
so
wash.
actually, there's a fill line
Fill line.
in the
Oh, in the container?
Fill 9 in the container.
He puts that right in with the, right into the alcohol.
You'll see. There's a fill line for the bees, I think.
alcohol in the bottom. I'm just gonna wash the bees with it a little bit.
And how much alcohol was that, Chris?
I'm just gonna put my pour the rest of the alcohol right on top of it.
He put it on the bottom of the container just to cover the bottom.
What alcohol is that?
Isopropyl.
Isopropyl.
Yes, isn't 70%?
You can also use winter antifreeze for windshield wiper fluid.
So you can use windshield wiper fluid or use the winter blend.
With the winter blend, yes.
The winter blend has alcohol.
This was discovered last year during the pandemic when alcohol could not be found,
Oh, okay.
and then they
I would think
decided.
it's easier to find the alcohol in winter blend.
You can shake it, swirl it,
I know.
about 30 seconds.
They're gonna kill the bees?
Yes, it's going to kill about 300 bees.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Out
It's
of
two fill
60,000 bees, it's okay.
lines. Two fill lines in here. There's one for 200 and one for 300 for the amount of bees.
Well, they're going to die anyway. They don't live forever. I know. And it's better to sacrifice a few to save the colony.
Star Trek. Yeah, right.
Exactly.
Wow, this has I'm counting 9 mice.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
And you put 200 bees in there or 300?
Here.
To the 300 line.
Chris,
Great.
can we pass it around so people can see?
I can pass this one. I can take the metal chamber out if you want to look at it.
Thank you, girls.
Yes, definitely.
You gonna get it from the bottom?
So I think Chris counted 9 mites. And again, you divide.
You get on eBay, $20 per kilo.
Hey, how you doing, Stephen?
It's not wood bleach. unless the wood bleach says 99% pure oxalic acid. Watch out with wood bleach, it might have other ingredients. But
Okay.
you can get it online from eBay.
You can also,
A liter shipped was $20 a few years ago.
you can,
Yeah.
you can also get it from Snyder's Apiary too. They have a full supply of items.
Is Lloyd here?
Yep.
Do you sell the oxalic acid?
Yes, but the oxalic I have is $34 a pound because it's the bipolar
Oh,
that's
okay.
certified by the EPA as the only oxalic acid you're supposed to use to treat bees.
Right, so I'm breaking the law. I'm saving a lot of money.
Yes. I won't turn this into the EPA.
The label that says the EPA certified.
Right.
So you got your price up to like, extra $20. Yeah, you double the price.
Hey, Luke, where are you going to be? In the front or on the side? I just want to get so we can watch you.
Okay, I'll take this back to you. I would suggest you video me from wherever you want to stand.
Okay. All right. I don't want to block anybody, so if you want to get on either side of me.
Position, I'll work around you.
Even though I'm a chemist, I gotta read the directions all the time. Okay, this is 4 doses, about 50 milliliters each.
50
These
milliliters
are
each.
roughly 50 milliliter bottles. I got these on eBay too. They were something like $3 shipped. People use them for henna, for decorating their hands. They're just drip bottles,
Okay.
real cheap. And I use a little bit of sugar. So I'll open that now. But I measure out 1/2 cup of water.
Is this tap water?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not EPA approved.
I'm going to measure out a whole cup. I'm not going to take my own directions because that's for using hot water. This is just room temperature. So I'm going to measure out 1/2 tablespoon
Half a tablespoon.
of pure oxalic acid.
Half a tablespoon of pure oxalic acid.
And luckily they make 1/2 tablespoon measures. If they don't, a 1/2 tablespoon is 1.5 teaspoons.
So half a tablespoon of pure oxalic acid in water.
Now I'm going to put about a tablespoon of sugar in. Doesn't matter, the sugar doesn't do anything
Okay.
for the bees other than I think it makes it more appealing to them.
So the sweeter the better?
I've never used anything but like a teaspoon
Okay. Or a tablespoon. That's,
or a tablespoon, that's right. It should dissolve at room temperature.
and this is acid so you can burn yourself, correct? Or not?
Please be sure to read all the danger information on oxalic acid. I don't think it's a very strong acid,
Okay.
but I wouldn't recommend you get it on your clothing or on your bare hands or anything.
Definitely
We
don't.
recommend wearing chemical-proof gloves and a pair of goggles, or at least safety glasses.
Okay, thanks, Lloyd.
It will burn your face, but it will burn your eye out.
Ooh.
Okay, it'll burn your eye out, so be sure to wear safety glasses. Lloyd's here.
We do not want one-eyed beekeepers, so please wear your safety goggles.
And particularly if you're vaporizing it, you need to wear goggles, not
Oh, I'm
safety
vaporizing
glasses.
it. It's a whole nother story. This is for wimps. Vaporizing is for the macho among us. Then I just depress the bottle so the air comes out, and then turn it in upside down, put it in the liquid, and pull out a dose.
Voila.
So we've got 4 hives we're going to treat today. So you can tell how far a pound or a kilo, about 2 pounds, will go in treatments. This spoon for 4 hives, 1 treatment for each.
How do you treat the hive? You can't get any honey from that, right?
Right, I never use this until after I've taken the honey off my hives. And actually, it's highly recommended to use it in fall. But I wouldn't use it in spring because that's when I'm concerned about my honey. Now, a side note is oxalic acid is a acid that's common in a lot of vegetables, like broccoli, and it's found in honey naturally.
How effective is this compared to vaporize?
I don't know.
Not as, and if you get this on the queen, she's more than likely damaged.
So if you get a little closer, you'll be able to see better. The only place I'm going to put this liquid is between the top bars of the top box, like so. I've done it enough now that I can sort of meter how much I should squeeze it to get just about every opening between the bars and the top.
So 1 bottle should do the whole top box?
Yep.
Are you aiming it on the surface of the wax? Or
No, I'm
between?
like, this is between the 2 top frame, or the top bars.
So it would drop straight down?
Right down, yeah.
Okay.
Now, there's some formula you can use to estimate how much you should dribble for the number of bees you think you have, but it all comes out to about 50 milliliters, like these bottles. So I'm going to do another one, another 3, so you'll get to see the technique.
Is it harm the bee?
I've heard that it might. Lloyd Snyder says it'll kill your queen, but I've used it since 2009 without any
I
problem.
didn't say it will, it has the potential to.
Damage.
So I go by my experience, which is 12 years without any problems doing this.
How soon after you do this do you retest your hives to see a mite count?
I just do this once or twice a year, and I don't even do a mite count.
Okay.
What? You don't even do a mite count to begin with?
Right.
You just treat?
Yeah, because I think it's harmless, except to the mites. And my experience is 12 years of doing this. My first 7 years, I didn't buy a single bee. and this is the treatment I use. I never bought a nuke. I never bought a package. I just kept my bees going for 7 years until the mosquito sprayers came around, and my neighborhood changed radically. And now I'm replacing bees all the time. Right south of Towson.
So I have 3 hives.
Right near Maxalia Nursery.
Maybe I'll treat one.
So I think they may have upped their pesticide use or something. But I know the mosquito sprayers killed them one year because it killed all my foragers in about a week on all 4 of my hives. And now I called the EPA and said the mosquito sprayers killed my bees, and they said, "How are you doing with varroa mites?" So that's why I became active as a pollinator protection advocate.
Really? Yeah.
You're fine. Just didn't want to trip over you.
So does anyone want to try it? Okay. Get your gloves on.
So if you only have a 2 bees, do you still put the same amount?
You can go online. My bees always look like about the same population. I don't have nucleus hives or anything like that. So,
How many boxes do you normally have on your hives?
in winter I usually have. I went from 3 mediums in winter, which is the same as 2 deeps. Now I've gone up to an extra medium full of honey each winter because I'd rather they it. Now this gentleman, what's your name? Tom is going to see if he can do this for the first
Go
time.
ahead, you can get in there.
No, I just
You're
wanted
doing
to see.
great. That's about
the,
it
the,
right in
the
there.
black thing. That's a
Oh, it's a feeder,
That's a
yeah.
feeder. Yeah,
If
I
you
have
see,
that.
it's going right between these the 2 bars on the
it's in
top.
there. You can put sugar water honey in it. That's what I use. Can you put candy bars in it? Candy bars? Oh, Lord, I don't. They like
Candy bars, like
So the
Reese's
bees don't
Pieces,
react
or
to it at all. They're getting a little bit wet. You wouldn't want to do this in freezing weather or anything.
Right. Does it drip all the way down, or?
I don't know.
Could only help.
This is a method that's been used in Europe, I think, since the 80s. It's okay. Thank you. Good job.
Thank you, Tom.
Good job.
The queen's dead tomorrow.
Thank you. So we've got one more dose ready. Can I have another volunteer for that hive? You want to do it?
I got dapped.
Yes.
Oh, you'll be okay. You want to take a risk?
Famous last words.
Get out of it. It's not his arm.
I know. Yeah, it's a smoker. Yeah, I smelled it earlier. It's like, wow, what is that?
Yeah. See, this looks like nothing to me. Mine would be all over.
What's your name?
Maybe it is because it's late.
Who is our
Who's our
a player?
volunteer?
Yes. Lisa.
Okay, Lisa.
Thank you, Lisa.
Lisa is going to do her first oxalic acid drip method. Treatment for varroa here. There you go. Just you're looking real gentle.
Just start here. Or?
Yeah, I would start here. I'm not used to seeing soap
They
Ukraine,
all have the feeders in them.
but they don't have the feeder. I would give it a little more push. Yeah,
he doesn't
drip a little more. There you go.
And it's, it is really simple. You just pour it in. Is it,
Prefer this over vaporizing
is it,
phthalic acid.
I've only used this method. I haven't vaporized, so I don't know how the two compare. My significant other has a vaporizer kit I might try.
it's really big from inside.
Oh, that's right.
Is the side screen? So I'm pro-oxalic acid. And the top is.
We're gonna use it now.
So they can't go, brown.
So
Very good. Thank you, Lisa.
Lisa did a perfect job her first time. Yay. Thank you, Lisa. Even with your eyes showing bare here. Mellow bees. Like Brian says, they're gentle bees. Now the last demo we have tonight, well actually it's two demos. If you look over here, I guess by now from what I'm saying about buying things on eBay and all, I'm a cheapskate.
Yep.
So I'm going to show you a way to feed your bees where I didn't buy any equipment. And I've used this method again since 2009 with great success. If you look here, I've got 2-quart bottles, the same jars I use for honey. And if you can see this lid, it's got 4 1/8-inch holes in it. And I fill this with 2-to-1 syrup.
Now or in the winter?
For feeding for winter. This is for winter feed.
Okay. Right now it should be
And
1
I
to 1.
constructed this out of an old piece of plywood. If you see, there's some hardware cloth. And that way, I put it on the top of my hive, over the bees, with a full jar of winter feed. And I invert the jar, and I get a ½ gallon of feed with 2 of these. If you wanted to get fancy, you could put 4 or 8 or whatever. And then this goes on top. And you'll see that it comes up above the level of the bottom of the jar. And I didn't have a spare hive cover, so I'm using this as a demo. Then you cover it like that, and you can feed your bees any day. It's above 50, I guess. And they'll suck those jars dry, that ½ gallon. They'll do that in 24 hours sometimes. And then I come out to my hives, and I look in, and I see if they're empty, and there's no bees or anything. So I just lift it up, and the hardware cloth keeps the bees down there, and you can see them moving around. And then I take these inside and refill them. I just take this and dip it in my 5-gallon bucket of feed, and rinse it off, put the lid back on with the holes, and put it back in here. And that's the way I've been feeding my bees. I've tried other things that are really hard to clean out, like those big hive parts that fit here and have screening and stuff, and the bees crawl it, and they're so hard to clean. This is super simple. So,
What did you say you had, in the bottle, underneath it?
underneath it, that's hardware cloth. That's the name for the screen. 1/8-inch hardware cloth is the technical term. Hardware cloth. It was hard to get for a while. They usually sell something bigger, but if anyone wants to look at it. It's a screen. That's just to keep the bees inside.
Right.
1/8. Yeah. Yeah, 1/8. They usually sell like 3/16 or something. So a little too large and a bee can get through it.
I told you about Mary.
So the final thing I'm going to demonstrate.
Where she does the white pipe, cuts it.
The final thing I'm going to demonstrate is
She's not here. She should be there.
you can see what wax moths do. Look in here. This was full of frames that the wax moths got to before I got to it. it was probably a dead out where I had it in storage, and they will destroy your woodenware. Well, especially wooden frames. I have Pureco frames. But, so this is my way of storing supers after I've extracted them. Now, I didn't bring full frames here because it would be too much weight, too much hassle. So just imagine that I've got freshly extracted honey supers here. And for years, I tried different things to kill the wax moths, keep them away. And one was Bacillus thuringiensis, BT. And I found that I was spraying the BT on each side of each frame and putting it in there, and it was taking forever and causing mold to form over winter. And then it stopped working after a few years. It stopped working. And I thought I was doing something wrong. But then I found out that BT has a shelf life. It's sold as certain biological pesticide. So then Steve McDaniel, who's not here tonight, said, Luke, why don't you just try this technique? You take your extracted frames, put them back in the woodenware, and then stack them alternating like this. And I thought he was crazy. But he said, if you stack them alternating like this, there's a parasitic wasp that lays its egg in the wax moth eggs. And it will kill the wax moths and you won't have any problem. So I thought he was crazy. I'd never heard that. And he said everyone knew that, but of course I didn't know it. So I tried it out on Ellen's property.
Does it have to be outside?
Yeah, it's outside, not inside. You want it outside. And it was, 100 yards from your hives, Ellen? About 100 yards from Ellen's hives. I didn't want to start a war between the bees fighting over the leftover honey. And I did that right after extracting the honey. We had a fall extraction that year. And when I came back in spring to put honey supers back on the hives, the comb was perfect. Pristine, brand new looking comb with no honey in it and no wax moth damage at all. And wide open. Wide open like this.
With no lid on it.
Well, what I did is Steve McDaniel said put two hive covers on in a way that covers the bottom from rain, right? So I did that, and that was kind of awkward. So I tried something new when I did this at Ellen's house for her apiary. And this is a 55-gallon barrel liner from Home Depot. You get them by the roll. And I just put this on. And I put some rocks on it, but this would be even better, a piece of plywood or something, or a hive cover. And put a rock on top. And I had the most beautiful comb ever for the beginning of setting up for spring.
Okay.
I left it outside.
If you had it,
I thought mice would get in it and chew everything up or something, but I guess the bees got rid of all the matter that mice would like, and I don't know if mice would like a home open to the environment this much either, too. So I highly recommend this. And there's a parasitic moth, and I did a little research today, a parasitic wasp. And I did a little research today, and they actually, mine just showed up somehow. And that's what Steve said, too. They'll just show up. So I'm going to try it again when I harvest again, and maybe I was lucky one year, but I didn't have to use Paramoth. I didn't have to spray the frames with BT solution, and I was very happy. So that's it for my demos. there's any questions or if anyone wants to take photos, I'll have this stuff here. And I guess, Chris, we're here to answer questions, I guess, now, huh? Okay, so that's it for the demos.
Let me ask, if you had that in a garage, would that not get
I think it needs to be outside where
Okay.
the wasp can get to it.
Yeah.
Or an open
And
garage.
also the wax
In a
moth.
garage, the wax moths probably can't get to it.
Oh,
either.
yes, they can.
Yeah,
Oh,
wax
yeah.
moths get
Oh,
you
yeah.
everywhere. And the wax moths don't like sunlight either, though.
Yeah.
So this might help by
The
having
stag-
all
I already
this,
do
and
the staggering,
even that
that
this
helps.
is clear,
Yeah.
might help.
I have an open garage, and it, just air just flows
Yeah.
through it, and that's where I've got my. No,
Ours is drafty.
yeah. Well, I haven't made it through winter yet, so we don't know
Yeah.
yet. I'll let you know in the spring.
Got a question over here.
You ever use moth flake? No. I started off, when I started off in 2009, I read about paramoth and stuff like that, and it was of questionable harm to bees or not.
There's two different kinds.
Yeah, I know, there's paramoth and
I
then
got it
there's
online
mothballs,
from.
whatever that is.
Where's the name? There's a name somewhere.
That's supposed to be really bad.
I think it's better.
Even the paramoth,
Is
which
there
is
any
better,
name on it somewhere?
gets in the wax, and there's some thought that it might be harmful.
Well, recommend that,
Yeah.
why you take it out of storage
Where is Carly?
Air
She's
for
the one
about a
that
week
told me about.
prior to putting it on a hive.
Oh,
Just air it out.
yeah, yeah, it's a volatile chemical,
Carly
so
over there.
unless
Yeah,
it's
ask her.
embedded
She's
in the
the one that
back
told me about
wax or
mine.
is dissolved in the wax, it should go out into the vapor of the air.
The key thing is do not use anything that on the label it says anything about camphor.
Oh, right.
Camphor.
That's naphthalene, and
Okay.
that's in paramount.
Okay. Thanks, Floyd.
And don't use regular
Thanks, Gary.
mothballs.
Don't use regular mothballs. If the container says anything about camphor,
That's it. Don't do it.
don't do it.
Right. So paramoth is what people use, right?
It's called.
Any other questions, comments, or concerns?
Zoom in on these directions.
Oh, right.
The next meeting will be.
Harley, can you say something about the next meeting?
He's gonna get the first week.